Hello. How's everyone doing? My name's Keith. If you're brand new here, welcome. I am your meditation teacher on this channel, Meditation Breaks. If you're returning, welcome back. Sorry, I had to postpone last week's class on short notice. I wasn't feeling that well, so I appreciate everyone being understanding about that. So thank you. Cool. So here on this channel, Meditation Breaks, we are going to learn about meditation. And there are a lot of different types of meditation, things you can do with it, things to focus on with regards to meditation. And anyone who's been coming here for a little while knows that we like to bounce around a little bit. Thanks, Beverly. I appreciate that. So each week we focus on a topic, right? And you might be saying, whoa, Keith, I'm brand new. I don't know anything about meditation, let alone a topic of it, right? Don't worry, because even though each week is kind of topic oriented, I always start with an intro to meditation, like a 101, if you will. What is meditation? Why does it work? Why should you consider making this a part of your life? That's an important question. You have only so many hours in the day. Is this something you want to add in, right? So we'll start with that. And so if you're brand new, don't worry. We're going to get everyone situated. And then we'll do a short breathing meditation together as our kind of foray into what meditation is. And then we'll talk about our topic. And our topic today is focusing on how to use imagery and like visuals, it to help in meditation, to like help bolster our meditation. Right? So we'll talk about that later. Right? Okay. So last thing before we get going. Hey, no, but was another one a few weeks ago. Okay, cool. The last thing I'll say is, if you do have questions, I very much encourage you to ask them. That's the beauty of me sort of being live with you here. If I say something, you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, you can say that. You got a question or experience you want to share, you can always put them in the chat. You can see a couple people have already been using it. So that's the best way to get your question answered. If you do not feel comfortable doing that, or you don't think of something until much later, after we're done here, I'm going to give everyone my email towards the end of today's class, and then you can email me any questions that you have. All right? Okay. So what is meditation? All right? Whenever we hear this word, even if you have no experience meditating, something comes to mind, right? This is our generic image. Thanks, Pat. I appreciate that. This is what I'll call our generic image of meditation. We have generic images of a lot of things. If I said apple, right? You picture an apple. Not everyone's apple is going to look the same, right? Now, with meditation, it's interesting because usually a lot of people gravitate towards one very specific generic image of representing meditation. And that is what? Sitting down, cross-legged, right? On the floor. Maybe your hands are like this. You look really calm, right? If you Googled meditation, literally those are the only images that would come up. So this is our kind of perceived way that we meditate, sitting down, cross-legged, etc. And that is a way to meditate. You can do that. But that is not the definition of meditation. Meditation is not confined to a specific seating position or, I don't know, location or something like that, right? So what is it? The definition that we work with here, and hopefully you can take away from this class, this definition of meditation. It is a technique that you use to familiarize your mind with something. And I might be like, Keith, that's not helpful. That is also quite vague. I don't know what that means. So familiarizing your mind is a phrase that we never use. And so when I say that, it sounds quite odd. But we are constantly familiarizing our mind with things, right? And we can look as far back as like when we were a wee kid, right? Learning to walk, right? You're probably a pretty good walker right now, you know? You don't have to think about it. You can walk while talking. You can walk while being on the phone. You can walk while carrying a bunch of items. Like, you're good at walking. You're very well versed. But when you were a kid, long time ago, you didn't know how to walk. And when you started to learn, I got news for you, it didn't look so great at first. You're stumbling all over the place, right? Thanks for the sub. I appreciate that. You're stumbling all over the place, right? So there's a huge gap in like familiarity between you as a kid not knowing anything about walking, and then now where it's what we'll call second nature, right? Meaning we don't need to. I never really understood what that phrase means, but like we don't need to think about it, right? It just kind of comes naturally to us, right? So that's walking. But what about everything else? What about brushing your teeth? Same thing. I didn't know what that was, right? Everything that we have learned in our life falls into this category, right? And at the core of this very kind of like important aspect of learning for us is familiarity, this concept of familiarity, right? So in terms of walking, we're familiarizing our body and, you know, our mind too with the mechanics of what we need to do to walk. And as a result, what happens? Walking becomes easier, more effortless. We don't have to concentrate as much like, oh, now I put my left foot there. Like, we don't think that way, right? You know, anymore, you know, because we've been doing it for so long, right? So this is our superpower, right? This is our human superpower. The ability to target things for like directly focusing on them, to learn them, to become familiar with them. And the result, the byproduct of that is we don't have to try so hard for it to happen. Now, it works both ways. You think about something like anger. We don't have to try hard to get angry, right? Nobody has ever been like, hey, hold on a second, I gotta get angry. It's taken me a little while, right? But like patience, the flip side of that, dude, we always have to stop. Be like, hey, I need a second to like think this over, right? Our mind has had a lot more practice getting annoyed than being patient. And as a result, our mind is more familiar with getting annoyed than being patient. And so getting annoyed comes a little bit more naturally to us, right? So this is a two-way street, right? This kind of concept of mental familiarity doesn't pick sides. So what we're doing with meditation is we're starting to choose what we want to be familiar with. Right? What do you want to familiarize your mind with? What do you want your mind to be like, to have come as second nature? Like, what do you want its default to be? Right? Hey, Lucia. Do you want your mind to gravitate towards patience more than anger? Right? All of this is possible because all of this is learned behavior. Your whole life has been learned behavior, and you become really amazing at things that you've learned. And this is just another thing. And this is why meditation is so cool, because it's not about sitting down. It's not about going to a mountaintop. It's about starting to make some choices in your life about who you want to be, what you want to come naturally to you, and then finding some cool, clever ways to start to embrace that, to nurture that. Right? So that's what we're going to do here today. And I know that sounds all good. It's a good spiel. You know, it's a good elevator pitch. as they say. But how the heck do we do it, right? So when we start learning meditation, almost always we start with something called breathing meditation. You probably have heard of it. Breathing meditation is meditating on our breath, right? And more specifically, the object of our meditation, the object of our focus is our breath. We're trying to become really familiar with our breath, right? Now, you can meditate on anything. It doesn't have to be your breath, right? So the reason we start with breathing meditation is that it travels really well. You always have it with you, which is important. It kind of empowers you to feel like you can use these techniques wherever you are. Also teaches you like we don't need special conditions to do this, right? We don't need to go to the mountaintop. We don't need to go on a retreat and leave our friends behind. We don't need perfect quiet, right? We just need our breath and a little bit of time, right? So breathing meditation is where we start. And more formally, this is called single-pointed concentration. I didn't pause for a dramatic effect. I was thirsty. So single-pointed concentration is what it sounds like. We are single-pointedly concentrating on something. Chris, I might suggest reloading it. I see your chat. So if not, Chris, if you're having trouble, this will be available on my YouTube channel in about 1 hour time. Hopefully you can figure it out. Okay, so single-pointed concentration is what it sounds like, right? We're single-pointedly focusing on something. In the case of breathing meditation, our breath, right? We are going to focus so exclusively on our breath that something interesting is going to happen. All of the other thoughts that are clamoring for our attention constantly. Oh, I got work tomorrow. I got that presentation. Oh, what was that noise? Right? Oh, I got an itch. Right? All those things, they're going to start to fade into the background, right? Because our mind is it's just like finite space in here, right? Think of it like a room. Right now we got a bunch of little furniture in there. And we're going to put a nice big armoire of our breath in there. So we're going to fill up that space. And everything else is going to kind of fade into the background. It's pretty similar if you've ever been in the zone or something like that, working diligently on something at work. You lose track of time, noises don't bother you. It's the same concept, right? We're just going to start to do this intentionally. Okay? So we are going to do a little breathing meditation here now. And instructionally, it is very straightforward. There are 3 steps, and I'm going to guide. I will be guiding this meditation. You will not be on your own. But there are 3 steps. The first step is we're going to choose to do this. I know, sounds weird. But we sometimes, like I was, talking about earlier, we accidentally have like meditative experiences, which is cool. It's great, but we want to train in this, right? So we're going to make a choice, a promise to ourselves. Just say to ourselves, I'm going to focus on my breath, single-pointedly to the best of my ability for the next couple of minutes, right? That's it, right? We're choosing to do this. This is a choice. We're telling our mind to do this. Then, while we're doing it, now I'm guiding, whenever you notice that your attention is no longer exclusively on your breath, right? And it can be anything. Our mind is amazing. It starts to think about all sorts of stuff. As soon as you notice you're thinking about dinner or something like that, we're just going to be like, not right now. That's our saying here, not right now. Those thoughts that are coming in, they are not wrong. They are not intrusive. They are not bad, whatever, we might label them. They're fine. They're thoughts, but not now, right? We are teaching our mind to focus on what we want to focus on in this moment, right? So we say not right now to those thoughts. And then step 3 is we bring our attention back to breathing. That's it. Choose to focus single-pointedly on your breath. Notice when your attention drifts, bring it on back, right? That's it. And we're going to do this over and over again. Do not worry if your attention drifts instantaneously. This does not matter. It's not like, oh, you have to never have your concentration be broken to meditate. No, this practice is the training, right? And there is no like barometer of success, right? Even if you can only keep your attention on your breath for 2 seconds, as long as you notice that and you're able to bring it back, that is what is important. Cool? Okay. Excellent. So let's do a little breathing meditation together. You might notice that I am in a chair. I am not sitting on the floor. It hurts my back. I'm in a nice, comfy office chair. You too can be in a nice, comfy chair. Or you can be on the floor if you want. You know, some people love that. You had a long day? Go ahead and lay down. It doesn't matter. Right? It's not like, oh, I have to sit in this. I have to sit like this, otherwise it doesn't work. That isn't true. If that were true, that would be very prohibitive. You know, we couldn't sit on the floor. Well, I guess we're out of luck, right? So choose a place that is comfortable to you, and you can go ahead and close your eyes. And I'm going to guide us through probably about 5 minutes breathing meditation. Okay. Whenever we start a meditation, first things first, take a moment and check in with yourself. Actually ask yourself, how am I feeling right now in this exact moment? Maybe you're happy. Maybe you're feeling a little melancholy. Maybe you're filled with energy or tired from the day. Whatever it is fine. We're not doing anything about it. We are just noticing. This is a technique called mindfulness. Mindfulness is an active awareness of your own thoughts, moment to moment, for the purpose of being able to respond skillfully to your thoughts. What is your mind up to right now? Having done that, you can now make a choice. You can choose to focus single pointedly on your own breath. Just make a little promise to yourself. And with that promise set, you can do just that. Turn your full attention to your own breath, starting to breathe in and out very gently and very naturally. You do not need to change anything about your breathing pattern. You don't need to take big, deep inhales or forcefully exhale air. However you normally breathe, whatever comes natural, that's what I want you to do. In and out. Gently, naturally. At some point, sometimes very quickly, you'll notice your attention drifting. Maybe you're thinking about something that you have to do later after this class ends. Or perhaps you're thinking about something that happened earlier in the day, earlier in the week. Whenever you notice your mind drifting in this way, we can just say not right now to those thoughts. We will get to them later. Imagine yourself placing them aside. And then with those thoughts placed aside, you can guide your focus back to breathing in and out, gently, naturally. We are single-pointedly focusing on each moment of each breath. See if you can follow the entire journey of the air as you breathe. When you inhale, can you visualize, imagine, watch that air entering your body, filling your lungs? Can you feel your chest expanding with each in-breath? And what about when you breathe out? Can you feel your chest contracting? Can you follow the air as it makes its way out of your body, back into the atmosphere, where it dissipates? A moment-to-moment interest, fascination with breathing in and out. Keep bringing your attention back to your breath whenever you notice it drifting. It does not matter how many times you need to do this. This process, choosing to focus single-pointedly on your breath, noticing when your attention has drifted, bringing your attention back. That is meditation. Each one of you is meditating right now. You are training your mind to be calm. You're training your mind to focus on what you want to focus on. And right now, the only thing that your mind is focusing on is breathing in and breathing out very gently and very naturally. So just for the last few moments, you can continue to sit here and breathe. No need to think too much about things. Just take a little time for yourself. Okay, whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Sorry, I had to sneeze at the end there. It's bad timing. So that's a pretty straightforward breathing meditation. Didn't take too long. Only 3 steps, but doesn't mean it's not difficult, right? Because this is new, right? Sometimes we do this and we're like, man, my mind was all over the place. I couldn't keep focus on my breath for more than a couple seconds, I'm not good at meditation. That's what we think, right? That's not true at all. Every one of us is equally as awesome at meditating. We just haven't. This is not something we do. This is new. Whenever we learn something new, that first time, didn't always go so great, right? We're not familiar with it, right? That was you today. Yeah. Look, that's me a lot of days, and I've been doing this for a real long time. The big reminder here is it's not like if your mind is drifting a lot, your meditation wasn't good. You sitting down and doing this practice is perfect, period. That's it, right? Your mind is not familiar with focusing on one thing. Your mind is familiar with multitasking. We ask our mind to multitask constantly. I mean, basically 100% of our day. Even now I have like something in my hand that I'm playing with while I'm talking. My mind is like multitasking. Like, why am I doing that? It's constant, right? Even when we think we're not, we kind of are. And so when we ask our mind to not do that, our mind puts up some resistance because it doesn't know. It's like, well, I don't do this. I focus on lots of stuff, right? So it's a training. It is a practice. And just like any practice, it takes a little time. But every one of us is equally as adept capable of doing this. It's just a matter of familiarity, right? Everything that we learn is based on familiarity. And this is no different. Cool? Hopefully that was relaxing. That is what I will call it's like a traditional kind of breathing meditation. And for some of us, Brenda, here we go. Heard an instructor say last week that if your mind wanders and you notice it, then you're bringing yourself back to the present moment. Yeah. So that's kind of, I mentioned that a little in the early parts of the meditation, when we checked in with ourselves, right? Mindfulness, an active awareness of our thoughts. When you bring your attention back, when you notice and bring your attention back, you're practicing mindfulness. You're practicing recognizing your mind is not where you asked it to be. That's the most important step. And then you have an option. What do you want to do with that information? Sometimes we might want to, maybe not when we're practicing meditation, but like, we're watching TV and we think about something. Maybe it's important for us to think about that thing. And then we make the choice to go do that. But maybe we don't want to right now. And then we have to make the choice not to. This is all about choice, right? Noticing, recognizing that your mind is kind of doing its own thing and then corralling it. That's what we're after. So brilliantly said. Thanks, Brenda. Awesome, right? So this type of meditation is, for some people, they love it, right? Others, they're like, man, my mind is like just all over the place, it's, what am I focusing on? The feeling of my breath. Like this is like sensory based almost, right? And some people, they don't really like that. Not that they're incapable of it, but they just don't gravitate to it. Sort of like we're all have different learning styles. And just like we have all different learning styles, we have different things that we gravitate to in meditation, things that click with us, right? So one of the things that we can do that's a like kind of offshoot of breathing meditation is start to weave in imagery, visuals into our breathing meditation, right? And it's not like, oh, this is the training wheels version, or like, oh, this isn't as powerful. Like, it's the exact same. It doesn't matter. In fact, the only requirements for something to be a meditative practice is choosing to focus on it single pointedly, noticing when your attention drifts, bringing your attention back. That's it. It can be anything. Brushing your teeth can be a meditative practice, right? So, maybe you fall into that category where this kind of like more nebulous focus on your breath and the feelings that you have is challenging. We're going to do some imagery-based meditation, and I think I'm going to try and do two. And I'm going to try to do, I just thought of I literally 10 minutes before the class, I'm like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to do. And so I tried to get it set up. So it's either going to be good or a catastrophic failure. So we'll see which one it is. Okay. So this type of meditation where we kind of bring in visuals, and by that, all I mean is we're using our imagination, right? So we're going to do a meditation that is very similar to what we just did. It's breathing meditation. This time, what we're going to do is, instead of just kind of focusing on our breath, we're going to imagine that each time we breathe out, we're breathing out like a, do like a dark smoke. It's called a black and white meditation or smoke meditation. There's a lot of different names. Right? So that's the imagery that we're having. Every time we breathe out, we're using our imagination, and we're just imagining we're breathing out kind of like a thick smoke. This can represent all of our, anxieties and our worries, our stress. Like we're breathing it out, right? But that visual is really important, right? Because the visual helps keep us grounded. Like it helps our minds like, oh, I have a job now. It's not just kind of sit here and notice the old breath. It's conjure this imagery, right? So we're going to imagine that every time we exhale, it's like dark smoke, and when we breathe in, it's like a white light, like a warmth, happiness, that good stuff. So that's what we're going to do in a little bit. But the concept here is to start to use our mind's ability to create images to our advantage. Your mind is super, super powerful, right? Like, who here has been to the moon? Like nobody, right? I don't know. Maybe so one day I'm going to ask that, and that's going to backfire. There's going to be an astronaut watching. Presumably none of us, right? Now, you've never been to the moon, right? You don't know anything about it other than, ancillary knowledge. You could go to the moon in 0.0000005 seconds, right? Just by closing your eyes and imagining it, right? Your mind, even for places that it hasn't been, can craft these scenes. It is super interesting, right? You think about dreaming, right? Dreaming is a really good example of how our mind is very capable of using visuals to kind of place us in, ground us in a scene, right? Sometimes we wake up and we're like, oh, it was a dream. Like it was so real, right? Because our mind is that powerful. Our mind can use visuals to create situations, to create scenarios, to create anything, man. And we can use that to our advantage in our meditation, right? Some classic example of this is, and a little bit of a tangent, but I think it's kind of cool to think about because we don't really, at least I didn't. I was like, oh, I knew my mind was powerful, the old brain, but when you start to really think about it, it's like, wow, kind of crazy, right? So let's say you walk into a room and you catch a glimpse of a snake, the big one. what do? First of all, you're probably scared. You're like, oh, right? And you probably run away, close the door, and then keep running till you're out of breath. And then that's that. You're now going back into that room, right? Now, what if you went into the room and you saw the snake, but then you realized it's just a replica, right? What happens? You're not afraid anymore. You're not running away. Might still be a little like, ugh. But it's a totally different response, right? So this is an interesting example of how your mind's interpretation of something can dictate your response, right? So like if we don't investigate, sometimes we might think that snake is real, and it kind of is. Like if our mind thinks it's real, it is real, right? So imagery with your mind, like visuals with your mind, is such an awesome technique to start to weave into your meditations, because it like really opens a lot of interesting possibilities, right? Thinking about this is really good for thinking about a situation that bothered you, like trying to analyze, like what was it that bothered me about that. It already happened. It's gone. You can't go and touch it, but your mind has it, right? Your mind has a snapshot of it, right? So we're going to make use of that. Cool? Okay. So we're going to do a little visual breathing meditation here, and it's going to be pretty similar. And by that, I mean we will start checking in, and then we will focus on our breath, but we're going to add in this visualization, and we're going to do it in kind of a step-by-step process. So don't worry about that. I will lead us through it, but just this is the goal. We're going to add in a visual element here, and we're going to see, how does that make you feel as opposed to the other one? Does one do you gravitate towards one more than the other? All right, here we go. Go ahead and close your eyes, get comfy. Go ahead and just check in. How are you doing right now? What does your mind feel like? We're just noticing, just observing. Having checked in, you can now once again make a promise to yourself, set an intention to focus single pointedly on your breath for the next couple of minutes. And with that intention set, you can now begin focusing on your breath. Only this time, we're going to add in a little visualization to help us, to help bolster the power of this meditation. So for now, every time you breathe in, I want you to imagine that you are breathing in white, light, warmth, joy, sunlight, whatever comes naturally to you. Just imagine it every time you breathe in. Picture it. Allow yourself to bask in it. We're just imagining. We're breathing in white light and warmth. And now we can add on another visual. Every time you breathe out, I'd like you to imagine, visualize, picture yourself breathing out a thick, dark smoke. Just imagine it. Every time you breathe in white light, every time you breathe out dark smoke. And we can extend the length of time that we're focusing on each of these visualizations. Next time you breathe out that dark smoke, just watch it for a little while. Watch it as it drifts away, mixing into the atmosphere. Until it's completely gone. And as you breathe in, imagine that white light or sunlight and warmth. Imagine it entering your body, filling you with joy, happiness, peace. Imagine it radiating from you, completely embodying that warmth and joy. Breathing out dark smoke, breathing in the white light. Let your mind paint you a picture of this. As you begin to relax. And if your mind drifts, no big deal. You can just say not right now to those thoughts and then get back on track with your visualization. Breathing out dark smoke, breathing in warmth and white light. Okay, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hello. So, same thing, right? Same instructions. We're choosing to focus on our breath. When our attention drifts, we bring it back. Only this time, we're layering on imagery. Now, If that was a cool experience for you, awesome. Like maybe that's something to note. Maybe you want to try that. If you're like, ooh, that was harder, no big deal, right? Maybe the other one was easier. Maybe you do that for a little while and then try this again. Experiment, doesn't matter. But there's a lot of options, and I think that's what's important here. When you're learning meditation, there are a lot of different ways to meditate, and one of them isn't better than the other. They are all the same. They are all equally as good because they're all doing the exact same thing, right? They're just kind of presenting it in a different way. So you got to find out what kind of a learner you are, right? I like doing the visualizations sometimes because I feel like it really takes me there, right? Like I think of it like a dream almost, right? Like a really vivid dream. And sometimes that can help break the kind of like outside noise, so to speak. So anyway, that's a different style of meditation, of breathing meditation. If you had a good experience, I'm glad. To close out today, I would like to do one more, and it's literally something I thought of 10 minutes before I started. I'm like, it'd be cool if we did we used visuals, like literally just looking at something, right? You almost fell asleep? That's cool. Don't worry about it. Falling asleep or like that kind of feeling happens when you meditate, particularly early on and when you're learning, because your mind is so busy all day long that when you're finally giving it this kind of task of focusing, what happens? Oh. All right. Our mind, it's tired. It's got a lot going on all day. So that's totally fine. It's good that you're relaxing. Right? Awesome. So I want to close out by doing a little meditation, and it'll be quick because I know we're running up on time here. But I wanted to show you that we can use visuals in a lot of different ways. Like we did visuals with our imagination. We can also just look at something and meditate on that, right? With our eyes, right? The only thing that's required for something to be meditation, choosing to focus on it single pointedly, noticing when your attention drifts, bringing your attention back, right? So maybe you don't like sitting down with your eyes closed. It's not your thing. That's cool, right? Sitting on a park bench and watching the trees blow in the breeze. You can meditate on that, right? It's the exact same thing. We're choosing to focus on it. And when we no longer are, we're like, whoop, and we come back. It's just as good as anything else, right? Watching clouds pass, you're watching a bird fly, like all these things. Looking at your hand. You ever look at your head? Like really look at your hand? There's a lot going on there, it's like all these weird lines and stuff. Like, what's up with it? There's weird contours, right? So using our eyes, visuals for meditation is a broad subject, and it does something really interesting, right? The hand one's is cool because our hand has always looked like this. It's always got these lines and stuff and these patterns. It's always been like that. But we don't ever notice, right? And so by single pointedly concentrating on something, we can start to find what I call subtle joys, right? Subtleties about something, right? Isn't that interesting? The lines in my hand. Oh, my ring finger is kind of curved, right? Like these are things that are like interesting subtleties. And that exists everywhere. Like out when we're walking and stuff like that. Those subtleties are everywhere. So this is a good practice for noticing those. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you close your eyes again very briefly, and then I'm going to have you open them, and I'm going to have an image on the screen. Hopefully this works. And it's going to be of, like nature. And I'm going to kind of do a very short guided meditation where you are actually looking at this picture, right? And we are meditating on the picture. Cool? Okay. Go ahead and close your eyes again. And just take a moment to check in. And then just very briefly turn your attention to your breath, just to relax a little bit. Smooth and gentle breathing in and out. And now I'd like you to open your eyes. What do you see? Where does your attention go in this picture? Does it go to the details of the bark? The perfectly horizontal lines on the trunks of these trees? Does it go to the dark knots? What about the shadows that the sun is casting with these trees? The vibrant yellow. The sheer magnitude of how many trees are here. So many trees all in one spot, thriving together. And right in the center, one tiny little evergreen. A friend amongst the aspens. Let yourself fully dive into this image. Feel yourself there. Pay attention to those subtleties. Subtle joys, things that exist in nature that are always there waiting for you to notice them, to discover. And with this image baked into your mind, I'd just like you to close your eyes once again. Breathe and just imagine yourself there in that grove. Allow yourself to relax and enjoy. Okay, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. It worked. Yay. So like look, there's a million things you can do. Limitless, right? Looking at a photograph, like it can be a meditative experience if you choose it to be that way, right? And so there's no limit to how you can practice this stuff. And using visuals, your eyes, your like mind's eyes, your like imagination is a really great way of bolstering some of your meditations to place you there, right? To really place you in specific spots. Cool? Awesome. That is our class for today. Thank you all for being here. Thank you everyone who subscribed either during the live stream or previously, or who chooses to do so after. It means a lot to me, helps me out a lot. It's free, doesn't cost anything. You get access to all my old videos and stuff like that. So if you want to learn about meditating for anxiety, for example, we got a lot of old videos on there you can check out, right? Thanks, Tom. That's in Colorado. I took that actually with my very professional iPhone. It was in Crested Butte, a really pretty area in Colorado. And I'm going to give everyone my email. So if you have any questions about meditation, something came up you wanted to ask me. My email is keith@meditationbreaks.com. There you go. You can email me anything that comes up. And also, if you're interested in doing a one-on-one, maybe you're like, meditation rocks, I'm in. Let's do this. I teach private one-on-one instruction. It's very laid back. Do it virtually, unless you happen to be in the greater Denver area. But one-on-ones are really, really great for focusing on something that is pertinent to you. Like you really want to learn about anxiety and how to manage that with meditation. We can do that, right? So if that's interesting to you, email me, or if you got any questions, email me. Otherwise, have a wonderful evening, and I hope to see you all next week. All right. Take care.